We all decided no presents this year. My mother declared firmly, as my brother's children ripped open packages revealing the latest smartphones, a $3,000 gaming rig complete with all the bells and whistles, and exclusive concert passes that promised front-row access to their favorite pop sensation. "You're blowing it out of proportion," Dad chuckled dismissively, his eyes twinkling with that familiar mix of amusement and denial. I stayed silent, simply gathered my kids' jackets without a word. And that night, under the quiet glow of our living room lamp, I methodically terminated every shared account, credit card authorization, and recurring payment that was tied to my name, feeling a strange sense of liberation with each click. By dawn, my phone screen was lit up with 63 missed calls, a relentless barrage from family numbers I knew all too well. And to top it off, 2 police officers stood at my doorstep, their badges glinting in the early morning light. I'm Noah Hart, 35 years old, the eldest son in a family that's always expected me to carry more than my share. I'm married to Lena, a woman whose patience and quiet strength have been my anchor through years of unspoken imbalances. And I'm the father to 2 incredible kids, a boy and a girl, who find more joy in playing with empty cardboard boxes than in any shiny gadget that could ever be unwrapped. In our extended family, I've always been the reliable one, the guy who troubleshoots Wi-Fi issues late at night, remembers every birthday with a thoughtful card or call, keeps the family group chat from fizzling into silence with random check-ins and memes, and quietly covers costs that no one else seems to notice or acknowledge, from streaming services to emergency bills that pop up like unwelcome surprises. It was Christmas Eve, and my parents' living room carried that artificial scent of cinnamon potpourri mixed with the faint, acrid warmth of an overworked space heater humming in the corner. The tree stood tall, adorned with mismatched ornaments collected over decades, some from my childhood, others from Jake's more recent adventures. My brother Jake strolled in 20 minutes late, as usual, with his sunglasses perched casually on his head like he'd just stepped off a private jet from some exotic locale, even though I knew he'd probably just come from a nearby coffee shop. His wife, Erin, immediately pulled out her phone and started snapping selfies by the tree, angling for the perfect lighting to capture the festive glow on her perfectly made-up face. Their 2 kids, energetic bundles of chaos, darted around the room in circles, already buzzing with pre-holiday excitement that bordered on frenzy. Mom intercepted me right as I was shrugging off my coat, her hand patting my shoulder in that possessive way she always did, as if reminding me of my place in the family hierarchy. "No gifts this year," she said, her voice low and crisp, carrying the weight of an unspoken command. "Times have been tough for everyone, Noah. Don't make a fuss about it." I blinked, processing her words, and nodded slowly. I hadn't brought anything extravagant, just the simple tin of cookies our kids had helped bake. "Good," Dad added from his worn recliner in the corner, not even bothering to look up from the newspaper he was pretending to read. "Let's keep it simple this year. Focus on quality time together, you know?" Lena squeezed my hand reassuringly, her touch grounding me in the moment. Our kids, wide-eyed and innocent, proudly carried in that tin of homemade cookies, lumpy with uneven icing, overloaded with colorful sprinkles in shades of red and green that had somehow migrated to every surface in our kitchen during the baking process. For a brief moment, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. No gifts meant no invisible scoreboard, no subtle comparisons about who spent more or who cared less. It meant we could just be a family, enjoying the holiday without the pressure of material expectations. But then Erin clapped her hands dramatically, breaking the fragile peace. "Surprises time," she announced in a sing-song voice like she was hosting a game show. Jake winked at his kids, his charisma on full display as always. "Santa made a special exception this year," he said with a grin, as if bending the rules was just part of his charm. Mom didn't say a word to intervene. Instead, she busied herself adjusting a throw pillow on the couch, as if fluffing it was more important than enforcing the agreement she just reminded me of. Their son dove into a neatly wrapped square box, tearing the paper with glee. A new smartphone, the absolute latest model with all the features kids dream about. He shouted in ecstasy, holding it up like a sacred artifact, his face lighting up brighter than the tree's twinkling lights. Their daughter followed suit, carefully peeling back the wrapping on a stack of premium concert tickets. 3 nights, front row, to that glittery pop star whose songs my own daughter had been humming for weeks, even doodling fan art in her notebook during quiet afternoons. The biggest reveal came last. A massive box containing a high-end gaming PC, its case decked out with RGB lights that pulsed like a nightclub in miniature. A handwritten card taped to the top read, "For schoolwork too," as if that justified the extravagance. The room erupted in cheers and applause. Dad actually hauled himself out of his recliner for that one, standing with his hands behind his back, nodding approvingly like he was inspecting a luxury vehicle at a dealership. Mom pressed a hand to her heart, her eyes misting over. "Oh, Jake," she breathed, her voice filled with adoration. "But we agreed no gifts," I started to say, my words trailing off as Mom turned to me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Well, no one said you couldn't bring something small if you wanted," she replied, her gaze sliding down my casual sweater as if judging my entire worth in that moment. "Besides, Jacob does so much for everyone throughout the year. Let him have his shine." Aaron laughed lightly, waving it off. "Don't be so dramatic, Noah. You know how you get sometimes, always overthinking things." Dad smirked, still not meeting my eyes directly. "You're making a mountain out of a molehill, son, overreacting as usual." I looked at my kids, who were watching the scene unfold with quiet confusion. Lena met my gaze, her expression a silent question. What now? For a split second, the room felt like it was sucking all the air out, a vacuum of unspoken tensions. I wasn't about to break down or cause a scene in front of them, not over wrapping paper and selective rules. I refused to let my children see me unravel. "Jackets on," I said quietly to my two little ones, keeping my face as neutral as possible, like this was just a normal part of the evening routine. I knelt down to help my daughter slide her small arm into the sleeve, her tiny fingers clutching the fabric tightly. My son carefully placed the cookies back into their tin, handling it with the gentleness of someone protecting something precious, his young face furrowed in concentration. Mom stepped forward, her expression shifting to one of feigned shock. "You're not seriously leaving, are you? Don't be silly, Noah." Jake's grin stretched wider, trying to diffuse the moment with his usual charm. "Come on, bro, stay. It's not that serious. Lighten up." I opened the front door without another word, the rush of cold winter air cutting through the cloying cinnamon scent like a sharp reality check. "Happy holidays," I said evenly, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. I didn't slam the door behind us, didn't deliver a dramatic monologue. I just walked out with my family, Lena holding our daughter's hand, our son clutching the cookie tin down the icy steps and into the frosty night that felt refreshingly honest compared to the warmth we'd left behind. Moments like that don't erupt from nothing. They're the culmination of years of small concessions, 1,000 quiet agreements to "sure, I'll handle it," that build up like sediment until they form a mountain. I grew up in a household where money wasn't just currency. It was the barometer of moods and relationships. When Dad was in high spirits, perhaps after a good day at his sales job, bills seemed to magically disappear, paid without fanfare or complaint. But when his mood soured, maybe a deal fell through or the car needed repairs, a simple oversight like leaving a hallway light on became a personal affront, sparking lectures about responsibility that echoed through our modest home. Mom's love, meanwhile, was always quantified, wrapped in subtle calculations. "We did so much for you," she'd say during family dinners or quiet evenings, recounting favors and sacrifices like items on an invisible invoice, her voice laced with expectation. It wasn't overt demands, but the implication was clear. Gratitude meant repayment, often in ways that favored harmony over fairness. Jake, my younger brother by 3 years, was the golden child from the start, loud, outgoing, with a natural charm that turned heads and opened doors. Teachers called home about his disruptive energy, but Mom reframed it as him being gifted and full of potential, advocating for him with a fierceness she rarely showed me. My own achievements, like consistent honor roll placements or science fair wins, earned a perfunctory "of course you did," before the conversation shifted back to helping Jake focus or catch up. At 16, I took a part-time job washing dishes at a local diner, scrubbing grease off plates until my hands were raw, saving every penny for a used car that I dreamed would give me some independence. But Jake, at 13, ended up using that car more than I did, borrowing it for errands, because his gas money situation was complicated. Code for him spending his allowance on video games or hanging out with friends. I didn't fight it, keeping the peace felt more important than my own plans. By 19, I was co-signing his first credit card to help him build credit responsibly, as Mom put it. What followed was a bonfire of poor decisions. Late fees piling up from impulse buys, cash advances for emergencies that turned out to be concert tickets or new sneakers. When the statements arrived and the tears flowed, Jake's dramatic apologies mixed with Mom's disappointment. She simply passed the bill to me with a sigh. "You two figure it out, boys. Family sticks together." I figured it out, dipping into my savings from my entry-level IT job to cover the balances, all while Jake promised it wouldn't happen again. It did, of course, but by then, the pattern was set. Fast forward through the years, and I met Lena in college, a kind, grounded woman studying education, with a laugh that could light up the darkest days. We married young, rented a modest two-bedroom apartment with a window that squeaked in the wind, and started building our life together. Our kids came along soon after. Our son first, with his curious mind and love for building forts out of anything handy, and our daughter 2 years later, artistic and sensitive, always sketching or humming tunes. They shared a room, turning it into their own little world of imagination, where bunk beds became castles and cardboard boxes were portals to adventure. My career in it for a local medical group provided stability, troubleshooting networks, securing data, the kind of work that paid the bills without glamour. Lena taught kindergarten, coming home each day with stories of tiny triumphs and glitter embedded in her clothes like badges of honor. We lived frugally, within our means and sometimes below them to build a safety net. I became the master of budgets, tracking subscriptions down to the penny, juggling due dates like a circus act, packing lunches with creative flair to make them fun, and making lists for everything from groceries to family outings. Every dollar had a purpose, a job to do in keeping our little unit afloat. But the family group chat had its own agenda, a digital lifeline that pulled me back into old roles. Mom would text, "Netflix is glitching again, Noah. Can you log in and fix it?" "Dad lost the ESPN login. Send it over, will you?" Jake, "Hey bro, mind adding me to your Amazon Prime? Aaron's card is being weird right now." Weird was family code for maxed out or declined. I'd add them, update passwords, share access. It was always easier than sparking a conflict that would ripple through calls and guilt trips. The costs started small, $30 here for a forgotten bill, $12 there for a streaming add-on, $90 once a year for something urgent. It was a steady drip, eroding my own family's buffer until the bucket overflowed without me noticing. Jake's jobs were as fleeting as seasons. Sales gigs that promised commissions but delivered excuses, startup ventures that fizzled before launch, a YouTube channel phase where he vlogged about grind culture from the comfort of a couch I was indirectly funding through shared internet bills. "Invest in me," he'd say during family gatherings, his eyes earnest and pleading. "We're blood, Noah. Family invests in each other." I didn't hand over cash, but I did cover his kids' school shoes when Erin texted at 11 p.m. with an emergency, her message laced with desperation that tugged at my sense of duty. The next day, Mom would post on Facebook about her wonderful boys, a glowing memory with photos from better times, and the likes and comments inevitably praised Jake's latest, hustle. When Lena and I finally bought a used minivan after years of saving, Dad teased, "Look at you, living large." But when Jake leased a massive truck that dwarfed our driveway, Dad clapped him on the back. "You only live once, son. Enjoy it." Skipping a family beach trip to repair our leaking sink earned us Mom's disapproval. "Why are you always so negative, Noah? Can't you see the bright side?" 2 summers back, Dad forgot about property taxes, calling me in a panic that sounded rehearsed. "Buddy, we could lose the house if we don't sort this." I drove over, set up a payment plan online, sat with him at the kitchen table explaining auto-pay step by step. He nodded along, distracted, while Mom served lemonade and patted my arm. "You're such a good son, Noah. Reliable as always." A month later, I overheard her telling a neighbor how she'd managed the whole crisis single-handedly, her voice swelling with pride. When their internet went down, my phone exploded with messages. The TV's showing some error about IP addresses. What do I do? I'd drop everything, drive across town, Lena holding down the fort with our kids and a quick text. Pick up milk on the way back. I'd crawl behind their entertainment center, dust-coating my clothes and filling my lungs, untangling cables while Jake sauntered in with a six-pack, cracking one open. "What's up, nerd squad?" He'd joke. Dad would laugh heartily like it was the funniest thing, and I'd fix the issue in silence. No thanks came. Instead, Mom asked if I could stick around to help Erin choose curtain colors for their guest room. Every December brought a new gift rule to accommodate the family's fluctuating finances. No gifts this year, after Jake's third job switch in as many months. Only homemade items, following Erin's failed boutique venture. Secret Santa with a $20 limit, post-Dad's colonoscopy and the stack of medical bills that followed. And every year the rule bent or broke, for everyone but me. Erin would unveil discounted designer scarves she just had to share. Dad would reveal a fancy grill requiring its own power strip. Mom would slip Jake a little something extra, like a sleek watch that screamed luxury. My contributions, homemade cookies baked with love, a framed photo of the grandkids captured in a candid moment of joy, earned polite nods. That's thoughtful, Noah. Sweet. Then the inevitable pivot. It's not about the money, you know. But it always circled back to that, the underlying current pulling at every interaction. The requests evolved, growing bolder with time. Jake's Zelle notifications labeled Little League fees or school supplies. Erin's texts. Hey, can you spot the field trip cost? My card's acting funny again. Funny meant rejected, but I'd approve it anyway. Meanwhile, my daughter once missed a book fair because our payment envelope got lost in the school shuffle. We hugged it out, promised a library adventure instead, her small disappointment tugging at my heart. That same night, I greenlit a $240 request from Jake labeled uniforms, swallowing the irony. Mentioning budgets or boundaries earned sighs and eye rolls. Noah, stop counting every penny. It's the holidays. Don't be petty. Petty became the label for any attempt at equity, suggesting we phase out shared Amazon access for security reasons. Mom, families share everything, dear, asking them not to distribute my logins? Dad, it's not like they're state secrets, son. I'd change passwords, only to revert them after the barrage of calls and messages guilting me back into line. The path of least resistance had become a deep trench, one I dug myself through years of compliance. In the weeks leading up to that fateful Christmas, Jake posted photos on social media of his kids at a high-end gaming store, their eyes wide with anticipation. Big surprise coming soon, he captioned, hashtags galore. Erin chimed in with emojis of wrapped gifts and hearts. Mom reacted with enthusiasm as if she were part of the marketing team. In the group chat, she reinforced, no gifts this year, folks, money's tight for all of us. I responded. Got it, Dad thumbs-upped. Erin echoed with a festive emoji. Jake, radio silence. Lena asked me one evening as we tucked the kids in, are you really okay with this? I replied, though exhaustion weighed on me like a heavy blanket. I craved simplicity. Hot cocoa steaming in mugs, board games with pieces worn from use, laughter without undertones. We baked those cookies together as a family, flour dusting the counter, kids giggling as they piled on sprinkles. The results were imperfect, lopsided, overly sweet, but they were ours, made with love. I slept soundly that night, a rare peace settling in. Walking into my parents' living room the next day shattered that illusion. My son eyed the smartphone box like it was an alien artifact. His innocent question, we can play with the box later, right? Piercing my heart. My daughter clung to her cookie tin, her lower lip trembling in that stubborn way she hated showing, knowing Grandma labeled such emotions as dramatic. The gifts weren't the core wound. It was the hypocrisy, the way rules flexed like rubber bands to favor Jake, encircling him in a glow of approval while I was left holding the invisible ledger. They viewed me as the accountant of grudges, not the bearer of quiet support. In the car ride home, silence enveloped us, polite, heavy, speaking volumes. Lena activated the seat warmers, a small comfort against the chill. Our kids didn't complain, they sensed the shift without words. At home, the cookie tin sat on the counter, sprinkles gleaming like misplaced confetti. My phone buzzed incessantly, Mom's accusations of rudeness, Dad's demands to grow up. Lena stood by me, her presence steady. Say it out loud, she encouraged. I'm done. The words landed soft but final, like turning the last page of a long book. Then act on it, she said. I didn't rage or overturn furniture. Instead, I unraveled the threads methodically. In the group chat, I typed my declaration, ending all shared subscriptions, cards, and payments tonight. Update your info. 24 hours to save what you need. My accounts stay mine. Hesitation flickered, old habits die hard, but Lena's nod pushed me to send. The whoosh felt like release. Then in the banking app, I dove in, canceling family Netflix, HBO, ESPN for Dad, Amazon for all cloud storage Jake used for his projects. Even that lingering phone line from Erin's old discount. Alerts flooded, changes confirmed, payments removed. The chat exploded, Jake's confusion, Mom's denial, Erin's outrage. It's Christmas, they chorused. Yes, I replied. And sharing like this is risky, handle your own. By midnight, more cuts, removing Jake from our joint card, disabling one-click buys. At 12:45 a.m., the forgotten gym membership Dad never used, canceled, reason, obsolete. Anger had faded. This was reclamation like fastening safety belts. Lena's proud words warmed me as she headed to bed. I fortified accounts with alerts, two-factor authentication. Created a new chat, Heart Haven, for us four. Movie night tomorrow, your pics, slept deeply. Dawn brought the doorbell, cops, parents in tow. A dispute call, mom's theatrics, he stole our access. Grandkids can't watch shows, dads please, I explained calmly. My accounts, my choice, no threats. Officers deemed it civil, offered polite exits. Parents left fuming. Calls piled, 70 now, I brewed coffee, Lena flipped fun-shaped pancakes. Kids asked innocent questions, life continued. Mom's call, you're humiliating us. I countered, I stopped paying, that's all. Jake's attack, petty. I laid out truths, you used me as a resource, no more. Surprising support trickled in, aunt's encouragement, cousin's thumbs up. Chat fractured. They exited dramatically. Peace descended. Spreadsheet shifted to additions, lessons, trips, small joys, voicemails deleted. Half-sisters' solidarity. Storm ebbed, they adapted. Mom's tentative text about the recital, yes, no gifts. Jake's silence, vague posts. Door open for kids' playdates, not as a bank. I won't pay for respect anymore. Love's a shared table, not a debt. I'm still Noah, fixer, rememberer, but not their wallet. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're protection. My family's mine to safeguard.